Ballad of Moondyne Joe, an Australian convict Brumby true heritage story. Come sit beside the fire a while and listen while the night is still, while the gums are black against the stars. And somewhere beyond the firelight, a Brumby moves quietly through the grass. You cannot see him yet, but every now and then a hoof touches the earth, a branch moves in the darkness, and the wind carries the breath of something standing beyond the fence. There is no need to hurry this story, because the old Australian stories were never meant to be hurried. They were carried along stock routes, told beside rivers, remembered around fires, and handed from one generation to another, until history and legend sometimes rode side by side. This one begins with a convict named Joseph Bolitho Johns, the man who'd become Moondyne Joe, and with a question that seems to follow both men and horses wherever fences are built. What is freedom worth when you have known captivity? Long before anybody called him Moondyne Joe, Joseph stood aboard a ship crossing an ocean that seemed to have no ending. In 1853, he was transported to Western Australia, carried under sentence thousands of miles from England and everything he had once known. Imagine the timber beneath the prisoner's feet, the ropes straining above them, salt collecting upon the rails, and nothing beyond the ship but water. Followed day until direction itself belonged to somebody else. A transported man did not choose when the ship turned, or it stopped, or when he would next place his boots upon land. His time was controlled, his movement was controlled, and the horizon might have seemed less like freedom than a reminder that there was nowhere to go. Then one morning there was land. Australia rose beyond the water, unfamiliar and enormous, and Joseph Bolitho Johns entered a country that would eventually transform a convicted man into a character of Australian folklore. There was no legend waiting for him when he arrived. No bush ballad carried his name. No storyteller sat beside a fire speaking of Moondyne Joe. There was simply a transported prisoner, beginning of a chapter beneath a different sky. What he thought as he first looked upon Western Australia has not been preserved for us, and we should not pretend otherwise. But we can stand quietly beside the historical moment and imagine the scale of it. Behind him an ocean, ahead of him a continent, and somewhere between the two a man wondering what would become of his life. Let the ocean fade now. Let the sound of water against the ship become wind moving through Australian grass. And let the groaning timber become the quiet creak of saddle leather. Joseph survived those early convict years, and eventually another word entered his story. Stockman. With that word comes the horse. Not yet the horse of legend or poetry, but the working horse. The animal that carried people across enormous distances, worked livestock, climbed rough country, and helped make movement possible in a landscape where a human being could walk all day and still seem to have traveled nowhere. Picture the mornings beginning before the heat. A saddle lifted across a horse's back, leather pulled into place, the animal shifting its weight beneath the stockman's hand. The eastern sky turns gold, dust begins rising. Somewhere cattle move, somewhere another rider calls Joseph Johns. Once transported across an ocean because other men controlled his movement, now works beside an animal whose great physical gift is movement itself. There is an extraordinary contrast sitting quietly inside that fact, and we do not need to invent anything to make it powerful. A stockman soon learns that a horse has a language of its own. It is not spoken in sentences. It appears in the ears turning toward a sound, the eye watching movement, the tighten of the body before a sudden step, and the long breath released when danger has passed. A person who works among horses learns when to approach, when to wait. You learn that impatience travels down a rein. You learn that fear can be felt before it is seen. You learn that trust cannot simply be ordered into existence. Somewhere in those practical lessons, the prisoner had become a horseman. And somewhere beyond the working horses of the settlements and stations were others living beyond the immediate command of saddle and rein. They were the horses Australians came to call Brumbies. Say the word quietly and allow the country to appear around it. Brumby, a free-ranging horse in Australia. The exact origin of the word has been debated, but the word itself entered Australian language and stayed there. Brumby, 7 letters, capable of opening an entire landscape in the mind. Dust rising beyond timber, a mare watching from the edge of a mob, a foal disappearing behind its mother, a stallion turning toward the wind, and then the sudden transformation of stillness into movement.